Okay, good afternoon, dear students. As you can see here, we are going to revise the poem called The Photograph by Charlotte Olson. So, this poem, we shall go with the theme first. This poem highlights the nostalgic moment of the poetess. Nostalgic moment means if someone has the tendency to go back to the past, like human mind has the tendency to go back to the past and recollect things. So that is what is nostalgic moment. Okay, because sometimes when our past is very pleasant and our future, our present is not so pleasant as in the past. In that case, what happens? We tend to go to the past. Okay, to experience in our recollection that pleasant moment. So that is what is called nostalgic. Okay, being nostalgic means if you go in retrospection, if you go in the past and try to recollect some moment from the past, that is what is called being nostalgic. Okay, so this poem highlights the nostalgic moment of the poetess about the memory of her mother who has been captured inside a photograph. Okay, this poem highlights the nostalgic moment of the poetess about the memory of her mother, who has been captured inside a photograph. Okay, um, because she has been away from her mom for many years now. So the photograph that is there, the framed photograph that is there inside her house, reminds her of her mom. Okay, therefore she tends to go back to the past in recollection. Okay, anyway, the photograph shows the poet's mother as a jubilant young girl with her cousins on a beach. The poem focuses on the mortal nature of the human beings vis-a-vis the immortality of nature. Okay, this is what is important, dear students. What is the message? The message of the poem is the mortal nature of human beings, that every human being is prone to death. We cannot avoid the inevitable process of aging and death. Okay, these two processes, aging, because everyone has to grow old, every one of us has to grow old. We cannot stop this. Okay, we cannot stop us from being old. Therefore, we cannot process the natural process of aging as well as death, because death comes to each and every one. Okay, so human beings are mortal in nature because they are prone to death one day or the other, vis-a-vis nature, which is immortal. Nature refers to here, it could be a forest, it could be a sea, it could be a river, it could be a lake, whatever. In the context of this poem, it is the sea. Okay, the sea has remained the same. Okay, which remained the same what it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago. But the people who had experienced pleasant experience on the beach are no longer there. Okay, therefore, the mortal nature of human beings has been put against the immortality of nature with the image of a sea. Understood? That is the main concept of the poem, that human beings are prone to death, whereas nature is immortal. Nature is immortal, human beings are prone to death. Human beings are not so powerful uh, like nature as well. Okay, so we are just, you can say, puppets in the hands of nature, because the nature has both the destructive as well as constructive forms. Okay, so anyway, next is, there is all pervasive sadness throughout the poem. Throughout the poem there is all pervasive sadness. Okay, the sadness All throughout the poem, we find the tinge of sadness in the minds of the poetess because she is missing at every step of her life her mother. The poetess shows the transient nature of human life as against the perennial nature of indicated in the poem by the example of the sea. So the poetess shows us in this poem the transient nature of human life. Transient means which lasts for a very short period of time. Human beings come to this world for a brief period of time. Okay, someone comes for 20 years, someone comes for 50 years, someone comes for 70 years. But after that period gets over, everyone has to die. As against perennial nature. Perennial means which goes on and on and on. So here human beings have been pitted against the nature in this poem. Okay, to show comparison that look, human beings are transient in nature, the life of human beings is transient in nature, whereas the nature is always immortal and perennial. Okay, now stanza wise let us understand. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girls cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands. The cardboard shows me, okay, cardboard which contains the photograph. That particular cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling. Paddling here refers to walking through shallow water is called paddling. So many of you have the experience of going on to the beach, so you might have done paddling on the beach. So the cardboard contains the photograph of the poetess mother along with her two cousins, each one holding one of my mother's hands. Each of the cousins was holding the mother's hands from both sides, from left side, from right side. So in all probability, as you can see from the setting, you can understand the mother was in the middle, and on her left and right were her two cousins who were holding her hands from left side as well as from right side. Okay, so now let's this three line four line is very simple. Okay, now let's go to the paraphrase. The cardboard photograph reminds the poetess of her mother. The beach scene of the poetess's mother with her two cousins for water sport is displayed in photograph. Okay, the beach scene of the poetess's mother with her two cousins for water sport is displayed in the photograph. Each of the cousins was holding the hand of her mother's hands. They were walking barefoot on the shallow water of the sea. They were walking barefoot and were involved in some water sports. Okay. Now let's move on to lines 5 to 9. So lines 5 to 9, let us uh, try to understand. All three stood still to smile through their hair. All three of them stood still because they had to give pose for the photograph, right? So while you give pose for the photograph, you cannot afford to just shake your body or go for do any kind of movement, because in that case the photograph will be hazy. You've got to be steady, you've got to be you got to freeze for a while. Okay, so all three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera because the uncle was taking the photograph. Smile through their hair means their hair strewn over the face by the sea breeze when they smiled at the camera. Okay, it happens like the sea beach is very windy. Okay, so the wind was you know uh, sort of their hair was blown away by the wind, therefore it got strewn all over the face, that is why smiling through their hair, which appears to have changed glass. Okay, next. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. A sweet face. Her mom's face was very, very sweet before I was born, because the poet was not fortunate enough to have been in the company of her mom, uh, because when she was very small, she died. So, a sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. And moreover, before I was born here, it means like her mom wasn't married at that time. No? Her mom was just might be in her 20s, not married yet. So this photograph, which is there in the cardboard, is the photograph of her mom in her premarital days. Premarital means she was not married till that time. She was not married till that time. And the sea, which appeared to have changed layers, washed their terribly transient feet. Okay, and the sea water and the sea water was washing their feet. Why transient feet? Because transient, as I told you, transient means lasting for a very short time only. That is what is transient all about. And why are the feet referred to as transient? Because it is the example of transient feet is the example of transport epithet actually. Okay, it's a figure of speech or literary device. Like the transient is not supposed to be used with feet, but it is used for poetic purpose against before the feet. Therefore, it is called transient feet. So transient feat has been mentioned by the poetess in order to show the mortal nature of human beings, mortal nature. Okay, that every human being is prone to death. In order to indicate that, in his poem, in her poem, she has mentioned transport epithet here. That is transient feat. So let us find out the meaning of which appears to have changed less. The sea, which is a part of nature, has not changed. The sea, which is a part of nature, has not changed. And transient feet means human feet are personified as having a short lifespan as against immortal nature. Human feet are personified as having a short lifespan as against immortal nature. Human feet are personified as having a short lifespan as against immortal nature. Um, that is why transient feet, and the figure of speech I told you is transport epithet. Okay, so human feet have also been personified in this line because like they have been transient feet means because they come to this world for a few days only, short lifespan, and transport epithet has been used in order to show the transient nature of human beings against the immortal sea, because sea appears to have changed less, because sea has remained the same over the years. There is no change in sea, so the nature remains perennial, nature remains immortal, whereas human beings who were seen to be on the shore, on the beach or seashore, they have died. They are no longer there on the very sea beach. That is why this comparison has been shown here. Okay, so now let's go through the paraphrase very quickly. All three girls posed for the camera while their hair dangled over their face. Okay, then they smiled at the uncle as he was taking the photograph. Next, the poetess admires the sweet and tender face of her mother during her youthful days. The poetess regrets that the sea, which is a part of perennial nature, washed away their transient fate. Here, by transient fate, the poetess indicates the immortality of human beings. Mortality means human beings are prone to death. Now, lines 10 to 13. Some 20, 30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. She means mom, her mom, okay? 20, 30 years after this incident, her mother used to laugh at the photograph, indicating her two cousins, Betty and Dolly. She would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. Okay, her mom used to say, look how they have dressed us for the beach. See Betty and Dolly, the way they have dressed up. See how our parents used to dress us, okay, for the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. The sea holiday was her past. The sea holiday was the past for her mom, whereas my mom's laughter, which is prominent in the photograph, is something which is past for me, because I cannot see that smile anymore. She is dead. So for my mom, it's a holiday, sea holiday, which is her past, and for me, the past is my mom's cute smile, which can be visible in the photograph. Okay. Paraphrase: 20, 30 years later, the poetess mother would laugh at her own picture. Her mom would refer to her two cousins. The way they all got dressed up for the sea holiday appeared to be strange to the poetess's mother. Now, both rhyme with the labored ease of loss. This is very important line, dear students. There are two important lines in this whole poem. One is, as I told you, this one. And the sea which appears to have changed less washed their terribly transient feet. And the sea which appeared to have changed less washed their terribly transient feet. These two lines are very important in the poem, and in all the exams almost these two lines are asked. Okay, some questions from these two lines. One question from these two lines um, comes, and then this this line is important. Both ride with the labored ease of loss. So both here refers to the poetess's mother's past holiday, as well as for the poetess, her mom's laughter. Okay, so both ride with the labored ease of loss. Labored ease of loss. Okay, labored ease of loss. Rye means what? Rye means both decay. Both rye means both decay, both disappear, both vanish with the labored ease of loss. Okay, because time is the great healer. Time uh, brings about forgetfulness in our mind. Okay, so uh, with a lot of effort, okay, they all have to be forgotten because they keep coming to our mind. So that is why the poet says both ride with the labored is of loss. Both here refers to the sea holiday of the poetess mother and the smile of the poetess mother that the poetess now badly misses. Both have disappeared now. Labored is of loss means both the past memories, her mother's holiday, and for the poetess, her mother's smile, have suffered a sense of loss which is hard to come to terms with. Okay, suffered a sense of loss. Labored is of loss means suffered a sense of loss which is hard to come to terms with. Okay, both have suffered a loss. Why? Because both are no longer there. Both are very pleasant moments, so they are not there. So they are not there because time has taken them. Okay, therefore it is a loss for both, which is hard to come to terms with, difficult to accept. Okay, now paraphrase, you listen. You see here, the poetess says that her mother's sea holiday and the beautiful smile that her mother always wore on her face both disappeared with the passage of time. The poetess says that her mother's sea holiday and the beautiful smile that her mother always wore on her face both disappeared with the passage of time. It is very difficult for the mother of the poetess to forget her sea holiday, and for the poetess, her mother's lively smile. Both of them are at different point of time experienced a sense of loss which is very difficult to accept. Now, she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Is silence silences. The poetess mother has been dead for the same number of years she has lived on this earth. Okay, so might be the poetess mother died, okay, at the childbirth. Okay, so anyway, and of this circumstance means the moment when her mom died, there is nothing to say at all. It's silence. The very thought of the moment when her mom died is very painful, that it silences everything else around. Okay, so the circumstance here refers to the moment pertaining to the death of the poetess's mother. Its silences means the silence caused due to the death of her mother silences the poetess as well. The silence caused due to the death of her mother silences the poetess as well. She is just speechless when she is reminded of the moment when her mom died. Okay, so that is the meaning of its silence silences. The moment when the poetess recollects the moment when her mom died, that moment itself brings about a lot of silence all around. Why? Because this moment brings about grief, and grief brings about silence. Okay, paraphrase: the poetess mother has been dead for as many years as she herself lived on this earth. The poetess thinks that the circumstance that has led to the death of her mom is so painful that she has nothing to say about it. The silence caused at the death of her mother has silenced everything else, as it is very painful. As the recollection of the moment of her mom's death is very painful, therefore it brings about silence all around. Okay, so dear students, that's all about the explanation of this poem. um, these are the NCERT solutions. I hope most of you have written down, and some questions for practice are also there. So if you have any doubt regarding any of the answers, please let me know so that I can help you out. Okay. So dear students, that's all about it. That's all about it. So before we wind up our lessons, kindly give your attendance. Just write yes so that I can understand uh, how many of you are present now. Okay. Sadvika, thank you so much. Sadvika is present. Those of you who have joined late, or have taken admission late, can write down from my website, go to the home page of my website, okay, and write down the answers. Write down, or you can study from the website itself if you think that you know the answers, and because this year has gone in this manner only. Okay, so if you think some of the questions are long enough, or you might know the answer from the web page itself, you can revise before the examination. Okay, before the examination. And when the classes will start in full swing in class 12, because class 11 is almost gone, then you can write down, or as of now you can also revise from the website. Okay, but at least write down the questions so that you know which questions you need to revise from the website. And for any extra question which is not there, the answer of which is not there, you can write on your notebook and forward it to me in the form of a PDF file in classroom. Okay, so can I take it for granted ki Ashutosh, like Sadvika, Ashutosh, Arya Divedi, Arya Singh, Sadvika is there, Prakhar, Alma, Mayur, Sanika, and Bhaggasri are present in my class. And what about Uday, Khushi Singh, Mansi Acharya, Shraddha Patel, Sneha, Ria, Gaurav, and Shanti? And Sahiba, what about the rest of you? What about the rest of you? I think you have taken leave. Okay. So thank you, dear students. Looking forward to the next class. Okay, Tanvi. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye. And regarding the answers of these extra questions, if you have any doubt, you can text me or you can write on your own and then forward me in the form of PDF so that I can check your answers and return you back. Okay. Bye bye. Take